Hello YouTube. This is a video about relativity, which is a sociological concept, and it's the idea that different things in different cultures are acceptable. For instance, here's a picture of somebody in a tribe who has a large wooden plate inserted in their bottom lip. That's considered beautiful and a show of authority and prestige, of social status in that culture. Very strange for me, growing up in a Western society as a white privileged boy from the UK. Whereas in that culture, if they saw me, they might think of me as also strange, wearing a tie. What are you wearing that tie for, mate? It looks uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable. Why do we do it? Or they might have a look at this woman and be like, oh, that's strange. Why has she got piercings in her face? Some people in our culture might see that as beautiful, especially in certain subcultures like punk or goth movements. Different cultures have different ideas of beauty. Or this shaman, for instance, what we value, this shaman has a lot of knowledge about the plants in the rainforest, whereas we might value in Western civilized world knowledge of how to make money as a more valuable form of knowledge. In different cultures, different knowledge is valuable. The use of drugs is illegal in this country, but in parts of India there are subcultures where people will smoke hashish, or a form of marijuana, and they see that as a holy process to get closer to God. And also do strange things like smear the ash of cremated bodies over their bodies. It's a particular subculture called Agori yogis. That's very, very strange behaviour to anyone who isn't in that subculture. But in that subculture, it's a norm. It's an accepted mode of behaviour. Similarly, we might look at goths in a bit of a weird way. Not as weirdly as Agori yogis. Alcohol, for many people in the Western world, is a normal part of life, but for a Muslim, of course, it's totally not. Although I do know some Muslims who break that norm and do drink sometimes. Shh, don't tell anybody. Or the idea of wearing clothing is quite normal in the Western world, but in some parts of the world, no. It's all right to be naked, especially where it's warmer than it is in Manchester. So are there any cultural universals then compared to the relativity of what I've just talked about? And this is what basically affects relativity, is four things: time and history. So in different times things change. So it used to be illegal for women to vote in the UK, and now it's not. Things change over time. The role that you're in, so as a teacher, I have to behave in a certain way, wear a certain clothes, speak a certain language. For instance, not allowed to swear. Whereas when I'm not in the role as of a teacher, when I'm not a teacher, I'm allowed to dress how I want, and I'm allowed to swear with my friends. But of course I don't, because I'm a good person. Good people sometimes swear. Anyway, so also culture, as I've just explained, different cultures have different ideas of what is beautiful, what is right and wrong, whether you can wear clothing or not, if drugs are okay or not, especially subcultures. We see that happen within countries, and in the situation. So different situations would make norms and values change. For instance, in a boxing ring, you can have a fight with someone, you can hit them, but in most other situations that I can think of, it's not okay to hit someone. It's socially unacceptable. It's deviant behaviour. So, are there any cultural universals? Are there any universals that really are the same, or there are similar things across all cultures? And there are four social universals. One is that there's always a type of family in every culture we're aware of. That there are always special foods specific to that culture. That there are always accepted modes of behaviour. So norms will change, but all societies have norms. And there are always celebrations in different cultures, whether that be Christmas and Easter or Eid and Ramadan. There are very different celebrations, but all cultures have some form of celebration. Margaret Mead is an excellent person to remember when we're talking about relativity and about culture and about gender, because she studied three different tribes: the Arapesh, the Munda-Mongol and the Tuchambuli. And you can see that, if you read this slide fully, that the Arapesh had, both male and females had what we would consider in Western society feminine roles. They both did child rearing. They both would spend quite a lot of time carrying out sort of caring activities for each other and for their children. Whereas in the Munda-Mongol, both were quite masculine. There wasn't much time for child rearing and they detested pregnancy. And the Tuchambuli, it was the opposite way around. So women were more masculine and men were more feminine. Yeah, that's right. And you can read that in more detail there if that was a bit confusing. So gender roles are relative. That's what Margaret Mead said. She was a feminist, if that's of interest to any of you. Also an anthropologist. So these are all pictures of celebrations, just what I was talking about, you know, whether it's the Hindu festival of Holi or the Chinese New Year or Easter in South America or the Hajj in Islam. All cultures have some form of celebration. So every culture has celebrations, so celebrations are cultural universals. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment below. I'll be very happy to answer any of them. If you like, subscribe. If you don't. Think for yourselves. You're sociologists. You have a vision of the way the world works other people don't have, so, you know, take advantage of that. Do subscribe, though. Bye.